Hi there, it's Bernii here with you today with another scrapbooking process video. Today I am creating a layout using the gorgeous collection from the Cocoa Vanillia Studio called Love Actually, and I am teaming it with this beautiful cut file that I grabbed from the Neat and Crafty cut store, which is an Etsy store full of designs created by the lovely Anita, who is another Australian scrapbooker, and she has beautiful whimsical designs on there, so I'll leave a link down below so that you can go and check that out. So the cut file that I'm using is actually just one cut file, but I decided to create or cut out two of the same design. I only have a portrait machine, so I enlarged the cut file as large as I could to go across a whole A4 piece of paper, and I cut two of the designs because I wanted to use both of these cut files to frame my photo in the middle. So what I'm doing now is I'm just adding some watercolor to my background, some light pink to bring out some of the pink colors in this beautiful collection. I did go ahead and prep my page there a little bit earlier with some clear gesso, which I did off camera before I started recording, just so I didn't have to bore you with those images. So I went ahead and used some very light pink, and I was just checking there before to make sure that I was adding the pink into the areas that you would be able to see, because I didn't want to do all that work and then only have it covered by the cut file anyways. So what I'm doing is I'm using the last scraps that I have from this collection. I don't have many pieces of paper left. So I'm trying to go through and make sure that I have enough of this beautiful mint green paper that's in the collection. I don't have much of it left, so I'm trying to adhere it as close as I can to the edge and use up as much of the paper as I can. I don't end up using all green for the leaves because I did run out. So I've added in some light grey in the leaves, and then I use that beautiful pink, and I think it's the black and white striped paper as well for the roses, and yeah, the roses on the cut file. So all I'm using is some wet adhesive glue and then gluing it down straight onto the paper and then fussy cutting around it. I'm not sure if there's another way to do it, but that's the way that I like to do it, so that I can actually see exactly where I'm cutting and exactly where I don't want pieces of paper to overlap. So there are my two cut files that I have backed with paper. I've used the beautiful pink and that black and white striped paper, and I'm just adhering that same black and white paper for or behind my photo, because I just wanted to not have random black and white roses on the layout itself. So before I do that though as well, I just want to add in some of this tissue paper. It's from some package that I received not too long ago, so I tend to keep those tissue papers and use them to back instead of vellum on my layouts, just for a bit of added texture and some interest. And I'm just going to go through here and use this beautiful cut apart sheet just to back my photo. And I really wanted to use this one because it had those little pops of florals down the side there. And I use that one because I do want to come back in later, or you will see that I'm going to use some of the Heidi Swap, I think it's called the Sea Foam mist, to tie in that same color there. And it helps to tie in the color from the leaves as well and the other florals. So I'm just going through my stash now. Like I said, I don't have much of this collection left, and I've even managed to grab that tiny bit of green paper that I've got left over. I just want to add some more layers just to make sure that my photo is going to stand out there, and just sliding it in the sides there. I love this collection. It's beautiful. Oh, what I've actually done, sorry, I'll just quickly go back there, is I have used my American Crafts punch out punches and just added a bit of decorative design there down the side with that piece of paper there, and I'm just going to tuck it in there. I just didn't want it to look like a random piece of green paper. So I love this collection. It's from, I'll leave a link down below as well, because it's from another Australian company. If you've never heard of them, you really need to go and check them out. Cocoa Vanillia Studio has beautiful collections. This is one of their softer collections and more whimsical type papers and accents. And it is called Love Actually, so it's got some beautiful little sweet sentiments um, that come with this collection. So it's perfect to use for layouts with my little loved ones, my little children. So I'm just using some fun foam. I actually have been seeing other YouTubers use this stuff on the internet, and I thought I'd go and grab a packet to try out because I go through so much of the double-sided mounting tape, and it's not cheap to buy. So I thought I'd try this out, and I don't mind it because it's not as high and it doesn't add too much height, which can make your albums a little bit thick if you tend to like dimension and a bit of height on your layouts. So I think I'll keep buying this stuff because it works out really well. So I'm just cutting out little bits of pieces here where I need them and then adhering them down in a moment again there with my wet adhesive, which I really like to use because I find that it just, yeah, adheres it really well. I haven't tried to use it with double-sided tape yet. I have seen other people on YouTube do it with their ATGs, so I might be, yeah, I might have to try that out and see how well it sticks. But for now, my wet glue works just fine. So I'm going in here now. Once I've adhered those flowers down or those cut files, I just noticed there wasn't enough depth or enough colour in the background. So I'm going back through and adding some light pink of the watercolor there and adhere those down now. And I am going to come back again in a moment with some darker pink because I just felt that it just wasn't standing out enough for me, and I do like to have that watercolor in the background. So I'm just mimicking how I'm popping those flowers down because I did want them to be identical on both sides, and just grabbing, or I'm just going to pop that photo with a little bit of the chipboard pieces that come in this collection as well, and that's just a little chipboard frame just to help pop up my photo there, because I just did notice that with the cut files and that fun foam, the layout or the photo itself was going to droop in one of the corners there. So I'm just going to go back through now with some of my darker pink here just to help those cut files stand out a little bit more, and just smooshing down, packaging technique there, and also with my paintbrush. And that's enough, and I'm going to pop that away. And I'm going to start to think about adhering this photo down and what title I want to use. Nope, but first, sorry, I'm going to go through with this Heidi Swap Seafoam. Give it a good shake there. And what I did notice when I popped it down, it just wasn't the right shade of green. It was just a little bit too, it was just a little bit darker than the light mint green that was in those leaves. So I'm just going to come back through with an old towel that I've got in my mixed media bucket here and just dab up some of that color in a moment, just to help soften that color, which it did. Once I dabbed it up, it softened it up and it blended in the colors just a little bit better there for me. So I did try and use some of those puffy stickers, but I've noticed some of those puffy stickers, it just wasn't the right green or pink either for this particular layout anyways. So I'm grabbing this little love heart flare as well. Cocoa Vanillia Studios create matching flares to go with each of their collections, and I'm just going through the cardstock sheet and seeing what I can use. They've got beautiful, beautiful stickers and sentiments, and I'm just trying to tie in some more green there by using that little cardstock sticker to the right there. I don't end up using that because it just wasn't the right shade of green again. So I'm just going through and having a look and seeing, oh, there it goes, and seeing what I can add in there instead. Now I did want to use that sweet little wood chip piece up there as well, and I do come back and forth and see if I want to use that. In the end I didn't. I took it away and I ended up using a couple of the cardstock stickers that are also in this collection, and using that instead as a title. And I must have moved it around way too much, that poor wood chip, because I've ended up breaking it. I must have been too rough with it, but that's okay. I'll use it for another layout and stick it together, and you won't even be able to notice that I've manhandled it a little bit too much. So yeah, just adhered those down there, and then I'm going to go around and of course staple around the edges because I like to do that to give it a bit of a, I don't know, rougher feel. I like doing this. Going through with my tiny toucher, and then yep, decided I can't use that puffy sticker either because it just wasn't the right shade for this layout. And instead, yep, I'm going to go with this little sentiment up here, and then you don't actually see it on camera. I did it after I stopped recording. I add in the XO title from the cardstock stickers like I mentioned before. And what I also did off camera was I went through with my Kindy Glitz. It's a color called Crystallina, and I just went through the centers of my roses in that cut file and just added some nice clear glitter there just to add a little bit more of interest. And you'll be able to see that in the photos at the end of this video in my close-ups. So I'm just going to cut off the edges here because of course I don't want them to smush up in my album when I slip it into this page protector. And I'm pretty much almost done. That's how I'm going to leave the layer. I am going to come back in a moment here, which unfortunately you'll see my big head in the way. I'm going to add some journaling here about cuddles with my cheeky little girl that I call Toots. And that's it. And this is my layout, and here are some close-ups. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll leave the links down below, and you can see more of the layouts of the close-ups on my blog. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.